Hey guys, this is Rob over at the Forge Training Center. Um, this is our first refinery recap, kind of talking about what we discussed at the refinery this morning, and then talking about our workout. And so today we went through Mark chapter 8. And basically, what I'm going to do is kind of talk about what we talked about, what stood out to us, what our thoughts were, and then we would love to hear some feedback from what the chapter says to you. Um, if you have any questions, feel free to. We don't have all the answers, but we can sure try to dig into it and see what we can answer. But some that was very reoccurring was faith. Faith kept coming up, right? In verse 2, um, you got these people that are just continuing to follow Jesus. They haven't eaten in 3 days. And Jesus is like, well, we can't send them away hungry. So he ends up feeding 4,000 people with 7 loaves of bread. And the disciples didn't have the faith. And they were like, how are we going to feed them? But yet the people continued to follow, even though they hadn't eaten in 3 days. And the question that came up was, if we were hungry and if we went 3 days without food, would we still follow? If circumstances were put in place, would we still follow? Would our faith be big enough that we continued to follow, even though we were uncomfortable, even though we were hungry? And, verse 11, the Pharisees are looking for a miracle. They're looking for a sign, right? And Jesus is very clear, why do you keep asking for signs? This generation will never learn. And he goes straight into be careful about the leaven, right? And what we discussed was the leaven is kind of like the world, man. Those little bits and pieces of the world that we let in and start to change our mindset, change the way we think, will downplay and start to ruin and starting to pick apart our faith, right? The world set out against us. And so by letting those little pieces, those little things that we don't think are that big of a deal, can actually turn into and grow into massive problems. And so we got to be real careful. Um, and the big thing is right, all these people keep talking about, we need to see a miracle. We need to see this. You got to do something. I mean, we do it today in our life. Well, how come this didn't happen? Or how come that happened? And, he just fed 5,000 men plus their families. Now he's feeding 4,000 people. It's kind of a big deal. I mean, just the disciples, right after he feeds 4,000, then are on a boat saying, we only got 1 loaf of bread. How are we going to eat? Bro, he just fed 4,000. It didn't just feed them like, okay, you got enough to go on your way. It was, they were satisfied. They were full. And then sent them home, right? So now, to me, it'd be like, man, I got a crumb of bread. Well, he was able to feed 4,000 with 7 loaves of bread. I hope I would say, man, this crumb, I know he can feed the 5 of us with that. And so, the question comes up, where's our faith at? Not where it needs to be. And so we ended up kind of recapping on, do we and would we and will we follow regardless of the circumstances around us and the voices that are chirping? Will we hold on to that, right? So Mark chapter 8, feel free to dive into that. Kind of give us your thoughts, give us some feedback, what you got to say, or what you think about those things. And then our workout, we kind of made some adjustments while we were doing it, but the root workout, and you can adjust the number of repetitions. So what we started with, the base was your goal is 250 single jump ropes. Anytime the jump rope stops, whether you trip on it, you got to pause to take a break, trips up, whatever the case may be. Every time the jump rope stops, you have to then do one of these things. And what we did was you had to rotate through these different exercises, 10 deadlifts, 5 pull-ups. We have a row machine, so rowing 250 meters. And then we did a bear crawl bag drag. It's about a 75-pound sandbag with handles on it, and you bear crawl and drag it down and back across the gym. And so the goal is to break the mental barrier of, I'm tired, I need to take a break, I don't want to jump rope anymore, and get as many reps as you can. You do less of the kind of punishment workouts. And some guys ended up like 550, 600 jump ropes, some 450, just to kind of drag it out a little bit. But what we did was everybody kept going through it until the last person hit 250. So if you got a group of people, when the last one hits 250, call it quits. Just to kind of encourage one another, come alongside each other, suffer alongside. Yeah, I got mine done quick. Am I going to go home and chill out, or am I going to come alongside you? I'm not going to do them for you, but I'll keep doing it with you to kind of encourage you through that. So if you don't have these equipments, pick different ones, right? Do every time you stop doing jump ropes, do 20 push-ups or 20 squats, or you pick the punishments. It's your punishment. If you don't have a jump rope, do burpees, right? Set it to where you got to do 150 burpees, and every time you pause doing your burpees, you got to do push-ups, squats, pull-ups, run down the street and back. If you don't have snow where you're at, run down the street and back, or whatever the case may be. You don't have to do this work. You do whatever you want. But this is what we did. We went through Mark chapter 8. If you got questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on what these verses kind of said to you and spoke to you. And stay tuned. We're going to keep doing these weekly. This is, again, Refinery Recap number 1 on February 20th, 2021. So hopefully we just build up a massive library of these when we come back years from now and see if these verses speak any different to us. So please, we'd love to hear what these verses say to you, and just kind of keep in the back of your mind, and this is something we kind of talked about and prayed about, is where's our faith at? How strong is our faith? When things get a little rocky, when things become a little uncomfortable, is our faith enough? Or do we rely on our own understanding and the things of the world? And when we let those things of the world in, does it begin to leaven all the dough? So we'd love to hear what you think. Enjoy the workout. Let us know what you think of Mark chapter 8, and we'll talk to you guys next week. God bless you.